I see Prashant's hand is up right now.
Yeah, for
Hey, Ju
sure.
hey, Julia, nice to meet you. Thanks for the talk. I do notice that throughout your entire session, you were focusing very heavy on assets like NFTs and ordinals and tokens and things like that. But what do you think as as a VC, do you think infrastructure is still a hot topic for community, the investing community? Is it something people still look for to invest? For context, what I'm trying to do is I'm building the bridging infrastructure and working on the decent fragmented liquidity problem across multiple DeFi layers and chains. I'm trying to bring all of them together using bridging and wrap tokens. So what do you think about this space, bridging infrastructure or infrastructure in general? Is it still attractive or sexy as how they call it?
Yeah. So it's really interesting because that sector, as all of us know from like using these products as consumers, is still a mess. Like cross chain is just still a disaster. I've invested in a couple companies in that space because I care about it a lot and I would like to see it better. I think VCs struggle with it.
Hmm.
I think it's like a harder category to raise in, and I've seen that in our portfolio and our bridging companies too. I think, you know, like a Zeus or like a, Bitcoin to Solana or something that's like a really tight problem is much easier than a shared liquidity layer. And I do have portfolio companies in that space because I love to see it, but they don't have the easiest time fundraising compared to some of the other projects because there aren't many VCs that like absolutely love that narrative. At the end of the day,
Understood.
all this stuff is kind of a narrative trade. Like crypto and climate was hot in 2021, 2022. As soon as that narrative died, like all those companies are functionally dead or pivoted
Mm,
out of crypto.
understood. I would love to hear more about this. I would love to connect offline and then, understand what went wrong for them and what some homework for me. Also, repeat Lewis's question. When are you coming back? I would love to hear a lot more.
You guys are very kind. I will talk to Albert about that. And RIP Klima, yes, that was a whole situation. um,
Thank you.
okay. Yeah, of course. Okay, how to run a process. So first of all, I see a lot of exceptionally shitty decks. So step one is make a good deck. I linked here to just this is the really basic. I found this in like 2 seconds, but I'll drop in the chat. It's just a really basic YC how to build a seed deck. It it doesn't need to be super fancy, but you have to hit like the key things. Like why you? Why is this business a big opportunity? Why do you have belief that this business is directionally correct? What traction or proof points can you show me that make me believe you? Like more metrics, more points that you win. What's your business model? What's your growth? Basically, how are you going to make me money and how much do you need to raise? Like that's it. And it's shocking how many times parts of that are missing from decks or it's just too complicated, right? So like I'll see a lot of decks that let's say it's a DeFi project and they spend 80% of the deck explaining how it works. And as a VC, I care how it works. I'm non-technical, so I'm going to go diligence that with a bunch of people who are more technical. And most times VCs will have a technical diligence call. But if I don't have any sense of like, have you validated that the solution will work? Have you validated that people want this? Do you have reason to believe that this is like has taken the market? If it has a token, who's going to buy the token and why? Like, what's the narrative? Like, these are really, really basic fundamental things that are often missing in decks. So just get feedback on your deck, go through multiple iterations. A lot of people will do one deck and then they'll send it to VCs and pitch. And like, don't waste like your one shot. Like, if you get one time to shoot your shot with a VC, like make it good. And you can save yourself a lot of pain by getting feedback that can be feedback from other investors that you aren't pitching. Maybe they're friends. You can get feedback from founder friends. You can get feedback from, I'm sure there's someone in Albert's team that can help, like each other. I think people don't like sharing their decks because they're afraid that it's not good enough or that they're going to get bad feedback or maybe that they're going to have to start over. But it is way better to get that feedback before you get it from a VC who you want money from than from a VC who you want money from, and then you burn that bridge. Get intros through your networks. This is kind of where the advisors, friends, families, mentors, like I'm using this word really loosely. They don't have to be people who have ownership in your business, but ask those people for a warm intro because reaching out cold to VCs is just exceptionally hard. So I'm going to drop this. Actually, hold on. Can you guys see the fundraising intros template? No. Okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
And then, okay, let me share this. So this is one that I made for another team that was fundraising. And your guys' investors and like funds will be different based on who's interested. But what I like to have all my teams do is basically make a wish list. These are all the funds that this founder wanted to talk to. Email all of, or if you're in a Telegram chat, Discord, whatever communication channel you use, email people in your community, past investors if you have them, founder friends, people in your cohort, anyone who trusts you and believe in you. These have to be people who are willing to vouch for you. These have to be people who are like willing to send an email or outreach on your behalf, which means they have to believe in you. Email all of those people, ask them who can intro to what. Literally get them to write their name here. So like these guys are on LPs of my fund. I would do this. I would do this. And then I'd put any notes and then get people to fill this out. Tell people they have like 48 hours to fill this out. Look at who says they can do what. Often you have multiple people that can do multiple funds. Figure out who you think the best one is, and then get those people to ping on your behalf for the warm intro. And if that person can't get the warm intro, if multiple people have claimed that partner, have someone else try and have someone else try. And that kind of goes to the FOMO thing where if a VC is getting pinged like 5 times by someone in their network being like, hey, really think you have to look at this, by the 3rd time, they're going to be like, okay, fine. I'll take the call in most cases, unless they have an antithesis against it. And then track that here. So everyone should have one of these spreadsheets. Super simple. It takes 2 seconds to make. I can literally just do this and send this to you guys right now in this chat. You can make this your own. Okay, nice. So now going back to the other presentation, actually, why don't I pause there again really quickly? Do you guys have any questions?
I did have another question, Julia. So on the consumer side, what makes it so hard for investors to invest in consumer-based apps in Web3 right now?
Because it goes back to almost always you can answer your questions with this. It goes back to a function of something on one of these 2 slides. So investors are looking for the next 100, 10, 100 plus X, sometimes 1000X. There are not very many examples of consumer projects that have returned investors' funds. So again, they're looking at you compared to everything else that they can invest in. And at the end of the day, they are doing some combination of what do I think the potential outcome could be? What's the maximum upside and what's the maximum downside? Like investors are in the business of evaluating risk and allocating capital. So most people look at a consumer product and they think just, holy shit, this is really risky because we haven't seen the exits. And it is much harder to underwrite that in the early days without traction. Once a consumer product like catches, like we all know the feeling of being really early to a product. And you're like, oh, wow, I think this like has legs, this catches. But at pre-seed, before you can see that, it is really, really hard. There's no reason to take that risk. Like almost every investor has the luxury of sitting to the next round or the round after that and just waiting till it's slightly more de-risked. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
pretty clear. That's what I thought you would say. I thought maybe it was that maybe retail is not here just yet, and that was another part of the challenge. But yeah, it's definitely on the 10 to
I
100.
think that's part of it. I think it's just really a function of like, do I need to take this risk? Yes, no. And you might be $100 billion outcome, but if someone has the risk probability on you being 100, but if they think it's like on a scale of 1 to 10 risky, they think it's a 9 on the risk scale. If they're looking at something else that they think could be a $10 billion outcome and they think it's a 5 on the risk scale, they're going to take that bet. Let's see. Traction. Does anyone else have a question?
Yes. Hi, Julia. This is Luis. I have a question. Do you weigh equity versus tokens in any formulaic way? What's more important to you and how? Thank you.
Yeah. So I used to say I didn't care. Because I have historically, I mean, I got started investing in Web2 companies. And so I mean,